And then that's the one I wanted. All right. Greetings, American High Data Science Club. We are truly in for a treat here today. We're joined here with Kyan, who is currently working towards her MSc in data science at UPenn and School of Engineering. So at UPenn, besides pursuing her academic interests, she also serves as the co-president for the school's data science group and a research fellow at Wharton Analytics. But outside of academics, she's also a data scientist at Delta Airlines, where she utilizes artificial intelligence and machine learning in her day-to-day work. So truly, we're here with an expert in this field, and we're very lucky to have her time. So thank you for coming on and spending your time here with American High's Data Science Club.
Thank you, Taz. My pleasure. Hi, everyone. This is Kanvi.
Perfect. So my first question I enjoy asking most of people who join us here is when was your first experience coming across it? It was either programming, data analysis, statistics, and AI, and your age and what was, the sentiments around that time around that technology?
Okay, I would have to admit I start a little bit late, definitely later than you are. So it's happened when I was in undergrad freshman years. My major is in economics, nothing related to data science coding at all. And that time, I was in Vietnam. Microsoft Vietnam has a program called Microsoft Student Partners. And I saw that application. I was like, oh, Microsoft, why not? Yay, let's do it. And I put an application. And yeah, through multiple round of interviews, finally got it. And then getting learn about Microsoft cloud, Azure, machine learning, start coding a little bit on Python, R, but finally make the move when I out of college. Um, start working as data analyst for 3 years, doing a lot of like SQL, um, machine learning, self-taught, doing, calling, packaging, but not really don't understand the math behind. That's why after 3 years of working, decided to take a challenge at Penn.
Wow. Well, my question would then be is you establish this base of knowledge in working with SQL and Python and Azure. What was like your first capstone or your first big projects with using artificial intelligence and data science technologies? And what factor that play in shaping your technical skills?
Yeah, so first project capstone was actually in my MBA. It's like a big one where we worked with clients. They're JEJA, like an electric company. They come in, they were like, hey, we're doing trading for electricity price, and we wanted to know what is going on there, what's the price gonna be in the next day. And basically we're like applying a lot of time series model. Um, moving average, like I saw on your website, you're doing a lot of like trading, right? So like moving average, ARIMA model, linear regression, a lot of forecasting. And that pretty much let me see how useful data science overall applying to solve business complicated problem. And yeah, from that moment, I realized I wanted to tailor my career toward being data scientist. And then at Penn, with Wharton Analytics Fellow, we also worked a lot with clients. So I had 3 clients total. I worked with Zillow. I worked with Thermal Campus Culture, like Philadelphia Orchestra, and I worked with Fox Entertainment. All like amazing projects where we get to be consultants on like science project and also work on their data set, their real problem.
So it's really interesting. You've had a lot of work with some real brand name companies. What has been your experience working with that data set? And for anyone who is in high school right now, when their goal is of course to be able to help these brand name companies, blue chip companies to address their problems with data science. what was there a reoccurring pattern you noticed, an approach you took for all these companies? Previous guests have said telling the story of the data, it doesn't have to be that, or it could, it could be building off of that concept. Is there a specific way you approach these problems that helped you the most?
Yeah. When I get a new data set, the first question is like, um, I list out all the questions that I have for my stakeholder, and then communication, actively talking with them, see the pain point. Like another guest speaker say, storytelling for sure. For me, actively communication, like, asking them, how can we help you? How can we solve this? And then upfront all of the, you know, this is going to be the disadvantage of the model. This is going to be the advantage of the model. And this is the type of problem we trying to solve. And we will focus on this instead of like generally solve all of the problem. And um, when working with like big brand companies as a student, they are actually very generous, helpful. They give a lot of guidance toward the end goal. So upfront about the end goal as well. Like, hey, this is gonna be the end goal. We wanted to have a set of recommendations for our marketing department, and this is gonna be the deliverables, and we want to achieve this within these timelines. So having your timeline, having the end goal, and tailor your team toward that end goal. And all of the data set, all of the technical skill come later.
Interesting. Now, another question I have is when they hand over, the magic keys to the black box, I guess. How do you make sure to maintain, security and to follow protocols? What would be your steps in that sense? Because that is obviously a huge part of professionalism and being able to maintain credibility for your next client.
So when you say a black box, is it like the data set or the
Yeah.
model that we are? Okay. So yeah, of course you gotta sign like code of conduct and all of that. And then when you communicate, publicly whenever on the data set, you have to mask all of the findings that related to a company. I can give you an example when we work with Fox Entertainment, and then we say, this is gonna be Fox show on Fox channel, but we're not allowed to say what kind of channel that Fox use or what kind of video that Fox has. And when we do the for example, customer like persona, we are not allowed to, use any of their persona, but we can have any markup names like Ari, Annie that we can like represent for Fox customers. So that is the way that like we when we communicated like internal, we are using the real data set. But when we are trying to like communicate publicly, we have to mask the data set.
Interesting. Well, another question I have, and I think this would be, a lot of our students will enjoy this, is can you walk us through one of your case studies for, your favorite case study or most insightful one working with one of these companies to give a bird's eye view on what it would be to be a data scientist in your shoes for some of our students.
Yeah, case study. Um, there's a lot of interesting case study here. I really like Zillow case study. I'm sure that you guys use Zillow before. So their website, we're trying to see what drive the website traffic. Basically, how many traffic will we get for the next month, next quarter? Can you predict that number and what driven those traffics? So that will help them to do a lot of things related to marketing and the business stakeholder also from marketing department. Pretty cool project. Get to see Zillow multi marketing channels. How do they drive all of traffic to their website? And building funnel marketing as well.
Interesting. Yeah, Zillow is definitely hot here in the Bay Area. I do now want to transition to your experience in academia. We've definitely talked a bit about your introduction. I do notice you have conducted research throughout your career, and obviously there are some intersections, but of course differences between business side and academia. What do you feel as high school students who aren't, of course, don't have the opportunity to participate in research now? What should they be aware of? What do you feel shines the most in academia where students feel you think it'd be useful for them and where you learned in academia research?
Yeah. So I'll break that question into like two part. How do I feel like different from like academia versus like industry? And then what kind of like advice for them? So what I'm thinking is that I feel like academia move faster than industry. So here's what I'm saying, because say all of the current AI model out there, they change rapidly and they keep developing like new content, new AI, doing a bunch of different stuff. And in academia, especially in research, we get to do a lot of that. For example, one of my current research right now with Penn NLP lab is doing a chatbot that can screen customer interacting with chatbot and say if they are depressed or not, just based on their text based, but also audio based. And then I get to do a lot with like text processing and then also audio processing. And within that audio processing, I get to apply speech emotional like recognition where there's like classifying by different emotion, for example, like anger, sad, happy, and then finally use all of that together with a picture of your audio processing as a computer vision together to detect if that person has um, depression or not, which is pretty cool. So I get to spin up everything AI model, traditional machine learning model, front end, back end, ABI calling, transformer, all of that within a year. I definitely feel like it's moved really quick and fast. And as long as you want to learn, tell your professor, like, I want to be involved in that. Can you spin me in? Can you hook me up in there? I want to doing this project. Is there any current available research assistant? Um, so that going to the advice, I would say once you get into college, people say have an internship is important. So yes, that, but also don't be so stressed if you cannot get an internship, but instead applying for a lab. Being a research assistant, get there learning during summer. I'm seeing a lot of like undergrad student after summer, their coding skill fly like skyrocket. Because they basically code every day in the lab and they get to participate to like so many different projects. And like I say, there's really no right or wrong. You just get to try and see if that research work or not. And if it's work, then yeah, you got a paper. If it's not, then experience. So yeah, I really like academia that way.
Interesting. I think you're the first person to say academia moves faster than business, but I can see your thought process there. Uh,
Yeah, so when like let's say AI in business, there's a lot of regulation that you have to follow to
yeah.
apply AI. You have to data privacy, of course, and then you have to like get a proposal, go so many layers to get approved. Meantime, in academia, just spin it up, just make a chatbot and see if it works or not.
Interesting. That, that's a different perspective, but I think there's some value to that. Another question I have is for students who are now in high school, how would you suggest for them, considering you're one step ahead from us? How would you suggest going about tools such as ChatGPT, Gemini? What would be your 2 cents on working with it, experimenting with it, things they should think about when they interact in this technology?
Yeah. Uh, I actually have a lot of talks on this. I do I do think we should use it. We should, basically use it to enhance our work, but not letting it take away our ability to think. So what I'm saying is that, for example, if you need to write something, like you need to code something, make sure that you already code the framework. And if you need some debugging or if you need some idea, you can ask GPT for help. For example, like a comma debugging or you missing a parenthesis, GPT catch those very fast. But if you ask GPT to code everything for you, then eventually you will lose the ability to think, to be critical thinking on the process of coding. Um, or when you wanted to write something, make sure that you already have all of the idea, everything. So what I did, because English is basically not my like first language, right? Because I'm from Vietnam, I wrote everything, have everything ready, just want to make sure everything look correct, grammarly, wording. So I just do a little prompt like, hey, can you check if it's correct, like grammar or wordings, stuff like that. So I just need to make sure that I have the ability to do it myself because let's say imagine where we take away GPT, take away all of the AI tool, we are the one who create things, right? Like we don't want to lose that ability. But for sure, AI enhance our work daily, make us better, not make them better.
I think there's a lot of truth to that statement as well. I think a lot of people do need to hear that, especially considering, how much GPT work I see as a TA. But another section I do want to move on to is work experience, considering you do have, you're a data scientist, you have a lot of hands-on work experience. For students who want to pursue go into the workforce in this field, what do you feel are the languages or skills and in such a fast-paced environment they should focus on with what you see right now?
Yeah. Uh, there is a reason why they say data scientist is the sexiest job big in the century because it is an intersection of a lot of like science and art. I say science because you need to code, you use Python, you actively use SQL, communicate with database, pull the data, wrangling, um, try to make sense of the data, cleaning, processing before you have a clean and clear data set for your machine learning. You do need a little bit of math to be able to modify your machine learning like loss function. If this loss function not working for you, are you able to customize a loss function in machine learning? A little bit of statistics. When I plot the data set, is it normal? If I want to impute the missing value, should I use mean? Should I use median? How do I decide it based on the underlying data set that I have? A lot of communication with stakeholder. Basically, you are a seller. You're trying to sell your models. A model need to have an end user. So you getting out there, talk to your business stakeholder, make sure that we let them know we try to enhance their work, not going after their work. The machine learning is to again help them to get there, not to replace them. So a lot of talk, a lot of empathy, a lot of like communication to stakeholders, be friend with them. And um, what else? Presentation skill, put everything in PowerPoint, get it ready, a little bit of front end, back end if you need to spin up your AI faster as a prototype for your business stakeholder. If your team don't have software engineer, you gotta do it. So you're like a full stack data scientist. So there's a lot of nuance into this role and this job. That's why I love it so much.
Well, I think you did a great job summarizing the key points uh of being a data scientist. So now I have a few rapid fire questions that I've gathered from my students, and I think you'll have some fun with these, and this is how we usually end off our talks. So for the first question, do you think generative AI tools comparable to DALL-E will generate majority of media content, movies, TV shows, or YouTube videos in the future?
Okay, this is actually a very interesting question. I I think we still need artists in this case. I don't I can't imagine AI do everything without artists. I'm an artist myself. I I I play piano, I play music, and I couldn't imagine AI take away that from me. And I feel like for a movie or newspapers, there's always a human behind. And I always admire the brand that create such an art. And I think AI again will help us enhance, make it more nuanced, make it more twist, but I don't think AI will have the capability to do it itself without the supervise of like a human.
Okay, that's interesting. So the next question, oh, and for those of you who don't know, I'm sure Kanye will know this reference, but a few months ago, ChatGPT could not count how many R's are in the letter strawberry. So my question to you now is, would you rather trust a toddler or ChatGPT to count how many R's are in the word strawberry?
Um, this is this is very interesting. This reasoning ability of GPT is still a very hot topic for NLP researcher. We in the lab trying ourselves to see how ChatGPT reasoning. And let me tell you, if you ask GPT, give me a top 10 restaurants in Philadelphia, it give you top 10, but when you double check, 5 out of 10 is not a real restaurant. So there's a lot of like hallucinations and reasoning. But a toddler and a GPT, I think we have to give GPT a little bit of credit. I would choose GPT out instead of a toddler.
We're one for one. Last guess was toddler. And for the final question, if there was a piece of advice you could tell yourself before you went to college, so the age of the average member of our club, what would it be and why? But the shtick is you can't say buy Bitcoin, Nvidia, Ethereum, or any type of stock.
Oh, okay. So the question is like, what could it be an advice from myself if
Yeah,
okay, I would just say pretty much don't be scared. Um, get out there and be me and try to be the best of me. Um, it's just the culture where I'm coming from. I scare a lot. Like I scare how people think about me. I have a lot of like I I'm not confident on like my appearance, my voice. I just wanted to be a little bit more confident, get out there. I start to realize a little bit late, not like you guys doing great job, like great job. When I was in high school, all I focus on is just math, studying, get you to good university, no club, no extra activities. And I realized I was missing out at that time. So if I can get back again, I will be out there, socialize, making friends, be me.
I think it's another piece of advice considering it is also very competitive in our high school as well. Always be able to branch out. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your time. It was truly an honor. I'm sure many of our listeners will be able to gain much insights from your work and what you have said with us here today.
Thank you, Taz.
And I will also be attaching Kianyi's YouTube channel. She's going to be posting AI content, tutorials, and other sorts of content on her channel. So feel free to check that out. I'm sure there'll be a lot of good stuff there moving forward.
Thank you, everyone.